And I will say, there's this dog character in the film.
Yeah.
I'm not one who likes at all seeing a dog get killed in a film.
No.
I'm not saying whether or not that happens. I'm saying that movie actually got me to the point where I was like, I think you gotta kill this dog.
I think you gotta get rid of that dog. I love dogs. I'm a dog person.
I don't want to see this dog die.
And that's another thing where I feel like he knows we love dogs, and he's gonna make us hate this dog. Man.
So Stephen Lang plays Bane meets Daredevil.
Yeah.
Bane Devil. Daredevil.
Gregory's
the name of this guy with the shaved head, sort of.
And they call me the John.
The John. The Justice of the John. John just came back from watching Don't Breathe. I saw it a couple days ago. I refuse to talk about with this movie with anyone else but John Humphrey. John, what did you think? Please let me know. He is the social media manager of Facebook.com/Blumhouse. Let's see what the horror movie guy thinks.
I just got out of this like an hour and a half ago, so I'm still kind of rearranging my brains from this, but well, I had a fantastic time. I was really impressed. Like, I really like Fede Alvarez already, like, full disclosure. Like, Panic Attack is pretty cool, and Evil Dead I was dazzled by. This is another step forward. He's showing what else he can do, you know, with all those chops. You know?
I've seen Evil Dead remake. I've seen all of From Dusk Till Dawn, so I've seen all the episodes he shot. Nice. And I saw this, and I would say that, in my honest and professional opinion, that this is his most well-crafted film he's ever done.
This is tight, man.
You know, like there's some gory stuff in here, not too gory, and there's some like gross out moments, but not too much.
There's
some wild
pretty
shit.
Gross and very uncomfortable moments.
One of my first things that I thought when this movie was done was how impressed I was with how Fede Alvarez's previous work that I've seen had like a pretty good amount of gore and violence, especially the Evil Dead remake.
A lot.
And he really doesn't rely on that here in terms of crafting this. The cinematographer, Pedro Luque, I think it's Luque or Luke, I don't know how to speak Spanish. I don't speak Spanish.
No, I don't speak Spanish.
The film they crafted together here is kind of reminiscent, sort of a film more like Panic Room in a way.
Yeah, it is a home invasion movie in a sense.
I like films of consequence. Like, no one's really a good guy in this movie.
Yeah.
And I like a film where everyone's essentially an anti-hero, and you're watching stories of bad people play out. It's just bad meets worse. Because Sam Raimi produced this. I think of the movie Drag Me to Hell, like Alison Lohman's character, how she had to make a decision that was a major consequence towards her life. And here, they're making a decision. Dylan Minnette's character, he's the voice of reason. He's the voice of going, like, we shouldn't do this. There's so many illegal things that we could get caught on for.
Yeah, he knows the law, and they all have a very different role in this little crime trio, and he's the guy, like, when we meet them, they're doing these crimes that aren't about money. They're very carefully planned out, and he's kind of keeping them in check. Most of this movie takes place when they deviate from that plan.
Jane Levy, or Levy, whatever, Rocky in the film.
Rocky.
She plays B. Rabbit. That's all.
B. Rabbit.
She's back
to this mobile home.
Mobile home in Detroit. That's a little sister that she wants to take care of.
Well, I thought that was a really great backdrop, because this is a very immediate movie. This is a movie that gives you its three characters and the situation they're in, and we kind of go from there. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's like, you don't spend all of your life telling people all the details of who you are. Like, this movie takes place in a window, and they set it in Detroit, which is a very specific backdrop, and it's like there aren't very many people around, and you can feel how run down everything is, and you get why these three people are doing this. You know?
There's a world here. There's a gloom. There's a real specific mood throughout. It's a weird film. It doesn't try to sell you at all that this is a normal, regular world and this weird thing happens. It starts off like this is. There's something sinister at play here, you know?
Yeah, I mean...
It's in the room. It's in the presence of every shot.
None of us are living very well. This is not a part of the country that is being taken care of at all, and we gotta rob to stay alive. That makes the leads, at least, you know, interesting, because... Yeah, you could argue that they're unlikable. I mean, Dylan Minnette of all of them is the most like, oh, like he's kind of cherubic. Even if they're unlikable, you kind of get their circumstances, and that makes it more dimensional for me anyway.
Yeah, the only character who I didn't think was the best written, Daniel Zavato's character.
Money,
yeah, like I could see the intention of what the writing was going for in terms of that character. Like, yeah, he's supposed to be kind of stupid. He's supposed to be kind of dumb.
Well,
But there's something about it where I felt like I don't necessarily blame the actor's choice on it. For me, it really was more of the writing. It seemed like an actor who doesn't behave like this guy at all was playing this guy. You know, when like for a performance like that, I would have liked to have seen a performance where I'm like, is that guy the way how he really behaves in real life?
Yeah.
As opposed to, I could tell this person probably doesn't have that kind of accent in his voice, probably doesn't carry himself that way at all. Like, it seemed like a performance to me. Every trailer shows he gets killed off pretty early.
And that moment, the way they shot that moment was like...
There's a nice addition, because even in the trailer, it's a jump scare.
Yeah.
In the trailer. But then they add a little something to it that they couldn't show in the trailer. That is really, it's a cool shot. It's a fucking sick shot.
Yeah, man. See, that wasn't as much of a problem for me. I thought he did a good job with this, too. I mean, he is, of all of them in the group, he's the guy who wants to be a tough guy gangster, you know, and that's kind of all he's about, or that's all we get into his life, and I didn't find him very unnatural. I guess I can see how you might.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he did a decent job. I just didn't think. I just thought that was the only part of the writing that I had issues with. Stephen Lang, the setup of his character is great.
Yeah.
How he does just seem like an old, helpless,
poor
blind guy.
old man living this horribly sad existence. Just in this
yeah.
run-down house in a neighborhood nobody else lives in anymore.
Honestly, like a lot of people, some people have even ruined the final moment in their non-spoiler reviews, I think. A moment that really stood out to me was the opening shot of this film. I figured some people are going to give away the fucking ending. I'm going to give away the opening shot, alright? You see Stephen Lang dragging Jane's body through the street, and she's all beaten up and shit. And then it cuts back to, like, what happened earlier.
Yeah.
So, we don't know exactly if that's the ending and they all lose or something. Like, we don't know what's going to happen exactly.
This is not
But you do know it's not going to go well the entire time. And that actually, like, really added. Because at first I was like, why would they show you that? I was really questioning that.
Yeah.
Like, why would Fede Alvarez choose to have that moment in the opening?
Yeah.
But as the film progressed, I saw that it really added to the tension. Because these guys really think shit's going to go smoothly.
Yeah.
But we know, like, it's not going to go smooth, guys. And you're just waiting for it to get worse.
And there are even moments, like, you know what's going to happen, you've seen the trailer, but there are even moments early on where you're like, no, man, maybe this could work.
yeah.
Maybe this could work
You
out.
stop forgetting about that opening sequence, and you're like, maybe the protagonist will win in the end, hopefully, you know?
Yeah, you know. It does a good job of that opening moment, you know, could have fallen flat in lesser hands, but it does a good job of making you go, you remember it, and you wonder, how on earth are we going to get there?
Yeah, exactly.
So it amps up the mystery, and it amps up the tension. And they just throw in other surprises, too, to distract you from that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the story's so gripping, the immediate effect of everything's so gripping that you forget that opening scene showed that Stephen Lang's probably going to, like, dominate through most of the scene.
Yeah, he is going to own some young people.
Because that specific adventure is fucking intense. You know, some people I've heard complain about, like, there are even some people I saw a movie with that were kind of complaining about, like, there's no way a blind guy can do that. I don't buy that. This guy was from the army, and he was a trained fighter, and this guy is clearly like a vet, like, and he's like in his 60s, but he still keeps in shape. Clearly, it's Stephen Lang.
When he had all his senses, he clearly had them honed to perfection.
Yeah. And when I got into Daredevil, I started researching to see, like, just how far a blind guy, their other senses can advance. Now, no scientific evidence pointed that Daredevil is possible to achieve.
Yeah.
But the level of Stephen Lang, totally capable. Like, that's not something where I'm like, this is ridiculous. They did a lot of brain studies where it does show that when you lose your sight, your brain rewires itself to amplify the other senses to allow you to survive in this world.
Yeah, your chemistry of your brain, I do believe, does actually change, because the parts of your brain that usually go to your sight or whatever you have to lose, they just get redistributed elsewhere. And what I liked a lot were the details that they threw in, because as he's moving throughout the house, they take time to show you him, like, reaching up to find certain things, certain touchstones that he's left around, and feeling out, and you can tell that he's looking for something specific. He's not just kind of feeling the walls. It's like, if I can touch this, at least I read it, like, if he can touch this and know what it is, okay, now I know where I am in the house. He looked like a guy who's lived in this house and hasn't come out for 5 days, and usually does that.
And Stephen Lang, I heard that when he filmed this, he had to wear contacts that really did make him blind. Which is fucking sweet, because he's terrifying in this film.
And I gotta hand it, I mean, like, I don't think everyone is willing to make a movie like this, because there are moments, there's a long shot during one of those fights between him and Jane Levy where it's like a rough fight, and I don't know, if they had his contacts in for them, but they both went for it. Like, it's a struggle, and it's nasty.
And there are moments, too, that are so well choreographed. Because, like, when Stephen Lang sometimes, like, punches these people, the shots look like they're really getting hit. And to know he was actually, like, couldn't see while filming that, like, holy shit, it's so scary to make.
Whoever did the insurance for this movie was probably losing their mind.
The way this film plays out, it's like watching a game unfold. I remember, like, when they first break into the home, it is kind of similar to Panic Room, actually, where they have this shot where it's going through the whole home, and you see the details and certain hidden things. I remember thinking, like, oh, this is it. The game is about to begin, and we're watching our players play. and Fede Alvarez, I felt, treated his direction of the film like that. Like you're watching this game on a mystery unfold. It's like a well-crafted suspense thriller for sure. When you watch the trailer, I had a couple of thoughts of like, I feel like you could easily get out of that. The script is well thought out to where they will go, okay, well, Stephen Lang's motivation would then be to do this to keep them closed. Like, how does he keep them trapped now? So the way everything is done just has it all make sense.
Well, and there's something about movies like this where it does fall on the actors and what the director chooses to do, because you could easily make a movie like this where the complaint would be valid. Like, yeah, these people were all stupid, and this guy, they could totally kill this guy. But the way they sell, the hesitations and the panics and the sheer terror of knowing that this guy can find them, like...
What I gotta totally go against is the argument of people saying, like, there were so many times I could have killed Stephen Lang. The reason...
I feel like they took the moments that they could.
There were moments where they did try, A. B, the moments where they didn't made sense at the time in the movie, especially because of Dylan Minnette's point of view. When he finds out that Daniel Zavato brought a gun, there's a whole moment where he's just like, what the fuck, we're gonna go to prison for like 10 years now if we get caught. Just see so that they're not gonna think we should kill this guy, because that could just make everything worse in terms of them possibly getting caught.
There's constantly more on the line than just that, especially for Jane Levy, and by extension for Dylan Minnette. Money just wants his money. You can see why it's not just so easy as, well, we'll just kill him. Because we shouldn't be here in the first place.
Especially when they essentially don't need to. And, like, you could see how it's hard to kill him, too.
Yeah, well, and Even Money, I like that, too, is Even Money's not ready to do it. Like, you could tell the whole time, and I thought that was a brilliant scene.
Like, thinking about the movie now, I might be going back on my first opinion about him, because that scene especially really does show that this guy was just a poser.
Yeah, it's like, he's not gonna... And I'm sitting there going, Stephen Lang, like, he was a soldier, like, he knows this guy is not gonna do shit, and he's gonna disarm him right now.
Yeah.
And it's those subtle character moments that really add a lot to this movie, because, like I said, it is immediate, and we don't learn tons about everyone's backstory, but, like, the way they do the characters is really effective.
First off, with Daniel Zavato, like, actually all the things I was saying, all the choices make sense now. Yeah. Because he's posing.
Yeah.
So that actually makes sense.
He wants
Never mind.
And he's tough to a degree.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a certain extent, we found his extent. He's not that tough.
Yeah. He's not a killer. I buy that. The whole thing of how, like, Stephen Lang was able to strip the gun away from him and everything, like...
Oh yeah, because he knows.
He not just knows the fighting, but like he can also pick up just on the guy's tone of him speaking that there's a fear and a trepidation, and he's dealt with enough like violence in his life to know if someone's really going to pull a trigger. The crazy twists like towards the end, I thought was really well done.
Yeah.
Because that could have gone like, this is ridiculous, and it kind of does go into ridiculous territory, but it adds.
Yeah, I did have to get used to it for a second, because when that twist first that big sort of plot turn starts to unfold, I was taken aback at first. I was like, what is happening? It sells it, It sells
it for why he has such an extreme situation on not letting these intruders break out.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who's been through battle and intense military training, and also probably some crazy PTSD. I'm sure this is a fucked up individual.
Yeah, no, I had no problem understanding why he was doing what he was doing.
Yeah,
I had no issues doing it. I think in terms of just plot alone, it totally adds to all this. Because if it was just about money, he would have just let them fucking... I think Stephen Lang would have been a lot more lenient about not trying so hard to let these people escape and kill them. Because there's a lot more going on than just money right now, you know?
And it adds a whole other dimension. It really is like you broke into the wrong house. There's a reason this dude is still in this neighborhood.
Exactly.
No one else is here. This dude's here.
Like, why else would a blind guy be chilling in such a beat down home in fucking Detroit
with his crazy ass dog?
Yeah.
His evil, crazy dog. And Jane Levy, man, I think she's fucking terrific in this movie.
Great.
She's a great... I want to see anything she's in because she's so natural and she's really great at selling these roles and really making nuanced choices as an actress.
She makes very real choices. I think her and Dylan Minnette did such a great job in these roles. They didn't allow themselves to fall into cliche territory when it's so easily like the setup of this stuff is kind of smart because I like how Fede Alvarez is kind of having fun with you.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean about the director playing a game with the audience. And it's very clever. It's more than just watching a suspenseful thriller. You can feel a director having fun. Like, he knows how fucking weird this shit's about to get. You know?
And that's something I really enjoyed about Evil Dead 2, is like, that movie is a lot darker and a lot more mean than the original one. But it's also kind of hilarious. Like, you can tell, like, someone behind that camera is having a lot of fun.
The same way how Evil Dead sets up, like, here's a normal thing that's going to happen. Yeah, sure, this girl's going through her withdrawals and everything, but the friends are just going to hang out at the cabin. It's going to be fun, but then shit's going to go crazy, but it's going to go fucking crazy.
Yeah,
it's not just going to go bad. It's going to go insane.
This movie is going to beat the shit out of its characters.
And that's what this movie does, too. Like, you see these guys pull off a small little job at first, and you're like, okay, these guys know what they're doing. This should be a walk in the park. But no, it's going to go bad, but it's not just going to go bad. It's going to go fucking insane, and I love... There's one specific gross out moment where everyone in the audience was just like... And I was that film analytical guy going, when that happened. Everyone,
Well, and even some of the dialogue in that scene, like, it knows what you're thinking and it knows just how uncomfortable you are right now.
Okay, tell you what. Once you're out of this video, we'll do an extra 2 minutes talking about that. I gotta talk about that ending.
Well, and I was impressed with Dylan Minnette in this too because he's an interesting actor to me because I really like Goosebumps. And I liked him in it, and he's a guy where, like, every time I see him, he keeps winning me because, like, he's so perfect looking. This is just like it's not an actual criticism. He's so perfect looking. Like, there's something about it where I'm always surprised that I'm so engaged by him.
Yeah.
I'm like, you look like a perfect kind of TV-ish, you know, cherubic face. And yet, I'm really engrossed by his performance in this, you know, and I really liked him in Goosebumps too. Very different, but, you know, I'm always like, oh, this guy, and then he always impresses me, or at least he has both times. When it gets to the point where everyone in the movie is not having a good day and everyone's looking pretty spent, like, there is a harsh contrast.
What's cool about Dylan Minnette is he kind of has like this, like, he's good looking, but kind of has like that dorky look.
He's got a boyish.
You know how there's like
look,
Jake Gyllenhaal, but then there's his look-alike Tobey Maguire.
He has a boyish.
Tobey Maguire isn't exactly. Yeah, there's like the boyish thing, but he has this like really deep voice that just makes him like manly.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he got a role like this because he could be playing, you know, he could easily be playing, you know, like a cool high school guy who's kind of sensitive. I'm psyched that he popped up in a movie like this, man. Like,
I really enjoyed his chemistry with Jane Levy because the writing really contributes a lot too. This film sets you up in like this is gonna go down directions that are probably gonna go this way. That's what I mean by the director having fun. Yeah. The setup is more than just good things gonna happen, but bad shit's gonna happen. Yeah. It sets you up in a way where you're like, oh, this is gonna happen with this character. These two are gonna do it. Like you think you know how it's gonna play out in the end and what arcs these characters are gonna have, but no, it's a different film.
This is what happens when everybody has their own plan and none of them work.
The whole night when they shot with the
night vision sequence.
The night vision sequence, like it's not like really defined night vision because you kind of have to like.
It's not that green.
You have to focus to make sure you see what's going on too.
Yeah, they use that to great effect.
Yeah, because they cause the audience to be involved and go, okay, what exactly is going on too?
Yeah.
And I really feel like they shot that in the dark. Because those actors really seem like they couldn't
like
see, you
It
know?
really looks like
And knowing
they went,
Fede Alvarez, he probably would have done something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like these are all actors who are very willing to throw themselves into their roles. I bet that they did, because that also looked like it would have been really cool to be on set for.
And I have no real complaints about this movie, excluding the last, like, 2 minutes of this film.
Okay.
And I'll save that to you for after we wrap this up. But the last 2 minutes of this film, I was like, no, there's too many plot holes there for what. Yeah. Just, if you don't mind it being spoiled for you, I'll tell you what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the exact ending.
Okay.
Like the final moments of that film.
Okay.
You bought that?
Oh yeah, and the music is really cool in this too. It's not an overly invasive soundtrack. It's not it's not like Insidious where it's, and I like that score, but it's not like crazy all the time. Like it's really tense, kind of percolating score, and the way they balance the sound, because sound plays a huge part in this movie.
The sound design is amazing in this. Yeah.
And I love soundy horror movies. You know,
there's great jump scares too, in effect, without relying on loud noises or loud cut to or something. You know.
Well, because this is a movie where jump scares make sense because everyone is like on high alert and trying to sneak around. Like that's just the time for jump scares.
Yeah.
You know, like and nothing that happens in a house late at night is not going to be a jump scare.
Yeah, because it's more about don't make noise.
Mm-hmm.
So when a noise happens, even if it's like a little noise, you're like, like when the one moment where Minnette steps on the floor and then a little creak goes off, and you're just like. Oh.
And that's the thing too. Is like in the middle of the night in an empty house, like everything is fucking loud. Like,
and all this guy's doing is hearing. I've been meditating a lot lately, and the more I meditate, the better the portion of my meditation gets where I focus on pointing out what I can hear and really like discerning it and knowing what it is, like pointing out even more details. It's cool. You start feeling like you're Daredevil.
If you've ever had to sneak back into your house in the middle of the night and you didn't want to wake anybody up, just flash back to that moment and then set a movie there. Because you're like tiptoeing and like the second you step on a loose board, it's like you freeze. Like, apply that tension, then multiply it by like 20.
Yeah. To me, this movie is like Panic Room meets Hush.
Yeah, kind of, and I mean, they really utilize the house. He's really creative about putting these characters in all kinds of different situations. There's claustrophobic stuff. There's the darkness. There's all kinds of stuff they play with. All kinds of discomfort. Like Fede Alvarez seems like he likes making uncomfortable movies, and it's shot with a lot of vigor. It's scored with just the appropriate amount. Like, it's distinct but not too much.
Yeah.
The actors are all on their A game. And I think the dialogue has gotten better. Because, like, Evil Dead, I thought some of the dialogue was a little flat.
He's going to be a much bigger director very soon. Like, this movie, I feel like, he needs a third film. John and I have this thing. We're talking about 3 films.
Yeah.
People need 3 films in order to be established as great in something.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's here to stick around.
But yeah, I mean,
he needs a third one.
This proves like that he does have some magic, and again, it's like it was what was so impressive, like when James Wan and Lee Whannell went from Saw to, I mean, Dead Silence, but also Insidious, where it's like, yeah, Evil Dead was gory and crazy and over the top and insane.
It's an experiment in tension, and terror.
Check it out. I can do it without the gore, and I can do it, make it claustrophobic, make it tense, make it weird and off the walls. Like, it's a really vigorous movie. Yeah, I think he even said that. I think he said he didn't want to do ghosts and he didn't want to do something super gory, and he wanted to do something that was original and tense. I want to see this again as soon as possible. I mean, like, I know a lot of people are bringing up Green Room in the same conversation. Like, yeah, if you double feature those, you'll just have a heart attack.
Yeah, but I think this is its own unique piece. As much as there's like the closest I think in terms of anything is Panic Room. In my honest opinion, I think Panic Room is the closest. There's similarities between things like Hush and Green Room, but Panic Room was the one where I'm like, if anything seems like there was an inspiration directly from any of those, it was probably that movie.
It's a movie where criminals break into the wrong house, but it's an exercise in, excellence in restriction and simplicity, and it's like, yeah, we've seen that setup before, but this is clearly like they thought about their story and how they can make this version its own interesting thing, and I think they succeed in spades with that. I think it's terrific.
Out of 10 breaths, I'd say take 10.
Yeah, take 10 breaths and call me in the morning.
10 out of 10 breaths.
10 out of 10 breaths.
If you guys want advice on how to calm your anxiety, count to 10. Inhale is 1. Exhale. Exhale. 2. You can close your eyes like.
In through your nose, out through your mouth.
So yeah, the exhale is even number, inhale, odd number. You do it to 10 and you restart. You do it like 2 or 3 times, guarantee you'll calm down.
You'll
be more in the moment.
So mellow. Right after.
That's all they had to do before Stephen Lang showed up in the room, was just calm the fuck down.
Breathe.
Just breathe. That's what I should have called it.
That's just
breathe. Alright guys, we have a new spoiler talk. Please subscribe to this channel. The people who subscribe are the ones God sends to heaven.
That's right.
John.
Reasons
to Jerry, Twitter and Instagram handle and YouTube playlist. And Facebook.com/Blumhouse social media manager of that, and really is running the shits out of the Real Rejects FB and Twitter. So, go support us there.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, there is a God. There is a God. Gosh, I can't see.
You come back to bed yesterday.